more now on that and our exclusive interview with Syria's President Assad. He has warned that Israel's offensive will fuel extremism in the region. He's been speaking to our Middle East editor Jeremy Bowen, who asked for his views on Israel's conditions for a ceasefire.
Stop launching rockets means stop assassinating Palestinians by your helicopters and airplanes. So you cannot look at one side and ignore the other side. About smuggling the armaments is another issue. It's part of the bigger solution. And Syria is not involved in this issue because we don't have border with Gaza.
But do you think that should be part of any ceasefire?
Yeah, of course. We will support ceasefire. We've been working with many countries, including the French, for this ceasefire.
Do you support Resolution 1860, the one that was passed at the UN recently?
In principle, we support most of it, but it's, at the end it's ambiguous. It doesn't have any executive plan. How to implement it? That's the question.
What about the Hamas rockets into Israel? Now, that's been going on for some time. The Israelis say that any country would respond in the way that they've responded. Do you think that's a fair point?
No, because there was truce for 6 months, and during that truce, no one of the Israelis was killed, while 38 to 40 Palestinians were assassinated publicly by the Israeli. So how could Hamas launch rockets and the Palestinians died? This is not logical.
But what if someone was firing rockets into Syria? I mean, you'd have to respond, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but it's not about only sending rockets. What if you have embargo? Embargo is a war, not military war. When the people are going to die and they have to choose between dying slowly and dying fast, no, they're going to die fast.
Now, Syria offers a base to the exiled political leader of Hamas, Khaled Mashal. You must have influence with him. Are you pushing him to accept a ceasefire?
We don't push anyone. We make dialogue. And they accepted the ceasefire. They support the ceasefire. But when you say ceasefire, it's not any ceasefire, not just to have ceasefire for a few days. You want it to be sustainable. Sustainable means you have certain requirements should be available in order to have the ceasefire.
So for what for you is the most important point about sustaining a ceasefire then?
Israel respecting this ceasefire, something never happened before. Second, to lift the embargo. Without this, you won't have sustainable ceasefire.
So you talked peace with Israel yourself, though. Syria has had some indirect contacts with Israel pretty recently. But do you think then that resisting Israel is still the thing that people in the Arab world should be doing?
We haven't achieved peace yet. And the Israeli never delivered since the beginning of the peace process in 1991. So when you don't accept the peace terms, you have to expect resistance. The people are desperate when they don't achieve anything through the peace negotiations. So the normal response is resistance. So you cannot say, I don't accept the normal response. This is reality. If you don't accept reality, you will fail. So you have to accept and you have to support reality.
Do you think, for you, do you think that there's a risk of this war in Gaza spreading elsewhere to other fronts in the Middle East?
If not the war, at least the effect of the war. Sometimes the effect of the war are more dangerous than the war. This is like sowing the seeds of extremism around the region in the Arab and Muslim world. It's bigger than the Middle East. This is the danger.
Sowing the seeds of extremism, what do you mean by that?
Desperation. Desperation means extremism. Extremism will produce terrorism. And this is not the way to fight terrorism. It's not by chasing people. You kill one, you will have another 100. It's proliferation, you cannot control it, but you fight them with the political action. This is political crisis in the humanitarian crisis. You have to solve it. Otherwise, this is the seeds of extremism that I'm talking about.
Do you think that Hamas should be brought into the process so that its position is legitimized in the eyes of many in the outside world?
Well, they are influential. That's the most important. So they have to be brought to any action. Otherwise, it will not succeed.
Bashar al-Assad speaking to Jeremy Bowen.